All right, we're going to break down what these financial awards mean and how the jury got to this decision with criminal defense attorney Brian Claypool. Brian, you've been working around the clock as we've all been standing by waiting for this verdict. So let's start with this. Proving defamation and winning with these public figures is very difficult. Professor Jonathan Turley tweeted this. In finding for Depp, the jury found that he met the higher burden applied to public figures. That is a rare and remarkable victory in such a high-profile case. Depp walks away with a far greater victory in the rejection of Heard's allegations. Another loser in this case is the ACLU, which helped write the defamatory column. This will magnify criticism of the role of the ACLU. So what do you make of the jury deciding to go with him on just about everything?
Yeah, hey, Shannon, thanks so much for having me. This was an absolute crushing blow for Amber Heard. I mean, I was not surprised that Depp won the case, but I was surprised at how he won the case. What I mean by that is what Trace was talking about. There were 3 statements that the jury deliberated on, and they found defamation on all 3 of those, Shannon. It could have only been one of the 3, and Depp still wins, right? But they said, no, all 3 were defamation. But they went one step further. They had to decide on malice. Let's talk a little bit about that. The burden of proof on malice, Shannon, is higher than it is on the other defamation elements. You've got to prove by clear and convincing evidence that malice was committed here. And boy, the jury said malice on all 3 of those elements. And then when you get to punitive damages, let's talk a little bit about that so your viewers know. These types of damages are to punish somebody. They are to punish somebody who arguably has been evil, or has exercised what's called callous disregard to the other person. It's really unprecedented in civil cases. It hardly ever happens, and that sent shockwaves across the country.
Well, and she's not backing off any of this. I mean, she's got a very long statement, but part of it says she's worried about the verdict, what it means for other women, and the fact that she has lost the ability as an American to speak freely and openly. What do you make of that contention? Because I suppose, she could pursue further action if she thought it was worthwhile.
Yeah, well, look, I think it's time for Amber Heard to stop trying to be the ambassador for domestic violence. She's still doing that, right? Look at the statements she just released. Maybe she does have, there's testimony about her borderline personality disorder, but I would not be saying those things having lost a case like this. I mean, let's talk briefly about why she lost this case. I mean, I think 2 of the biggest elements in this case, that audio tape you played, Shannon, absolutely devastating for Amber Heard when she's admitting hitting Johnny Depp, calling him a baby, and there was nothing on audio or video of Depp saying the same thing. And then also just no medical documentation at all of any of these alleged injuries. And I really, really think that led to her demise.
Well, something that we've got to acknowledge up front is the fact that he took a lot of chances with this trial. And it seemed like even if he didn't get that jury verdict, he felt good that he had gotten to tell his side of the story and that there were cameras in this courtroom, because that there are a lot of courtrooms, they don't allow it. But for him to be able to publicly rehab himself, which I think was the main goal here. I mean, it involved him having a lot of messy, ugly stuff. Neither one of them come off as angels in this thing. All about his substance abuse struggles with alcohol and with drugs, and some really ugly things that happened between the 2 of them. He took a big gamble.
Yeah, Shannon, great point. And I think that actually played in his favor. And what I mean by that is, boy, if I was sitting on that jury, I'd be saying to myself, wow, why is Depp in court? If they're showing pictures of him like this with his hands behind his head, passed out, why would Depp be in a courtroom if there's pictures of cocaine on the table? Why would Depp be in the courtroom if he's allegedly slitting his wrists? Well, that worked to his favor because the jury, I think, remember, Shannon, you've done a lot of trials. I've done a lot of trials. Jurors are not robots. They're human beings, and you can't eliminate that from assessing witnesses. And I know that played a role. They're sitting there thinking, I've got to believe this guy, because why would he put his entire private life, cast all over the public world if it wasn't true? So I really, really think that was powerful in the minds of the jury.
Brian Claypool, we always appreciate your expertise. I hope I see you again real soon.
You bet. Thanks for having me, Shannon.
Thank you.